began, where freedom began. So we at Mitchellville Historic Park here on Hilton Head Island. So basically, Mitchellville is about the formerly enslaved people as the Union Army came down and beat the Confederate Army in the Civil War. Basically, President Lincoln assigned this land to newly freed slaves to inhabit and build their own community. So we're here at Mitchellville. Builders were now the fast bosses of the sturdiest house, Mitchellville, where the contract and apparition were saying they were making a point of liability. So yeah, y'all can see this is a whole community that was built here in Mitchellville. The vision for Mitchellville is a community of identical homes based on a prototype. However, photographs of the town show varied design choices. Some buildings had symmetrical layouts, others were asymmetrical. Many had stove flues, but some had brick chimneys. Roof shingles were wood, metal, or bitumen paper. There were glass windows or wooden shutters. Yards had fences, canvas, lean-tos, and other structures. So you can see, how the structure was and people building homes. Mitchellville households included kith and kin. Extended families lived under one roof, as well as close friends who were like family. Many orphan children also ended up on Hilton Head Island. As depicted in this 1861 Harper's illustration, it's likely that some were unofficially adopted into Mitchellville homes. The Union base received frequent deliveries of building supplies on site. Sawmill may have supplied lumber for Mitchellville homes, as well as military structures. The residents also scavenged materials in abandoned Confederate plantations and homes. These were small houses. They were mostly for sleeping and protection during bad weather. It was more comfortable to be outside in the fresh air during the day. Y'all can see this was land that was inhabited by former freed slaves. They've turned into a park. A historic park where you can come and learn history here in Hilton Head about Mitchellville. So Mitchellville was a self-run town. Union General Arms in Mitchell's vision. Mitchellville was self-run. The Union military commander appointed a town supervisor and treasurer, while Mitchellville citizens elected council members. The council established ordinances, levied taxes, oversaw sanitation regulations, and generally tended to the well-being of the community. Mitchellville also had a black or resident police force. These lawmen were among the first black officers in the United States. They protected Mitchellville citizens from ill-intentioned Union soldiers and attacks from the Confederate raiders. So Mitchellville was the first school on Hilton Head Island. So it was started by black women in refuge quarters outside the Union military complex. The school and teachers moved to Mitchellville when the town took shape. 1865, the town had numerous schools for black students. Lead teachers were mostly white women from the north who came down. Volunteering through the American Methodist Association, assistant teachers were often black, providing continuity when white volunteers returned home. Students also included in adults, as shown in this illustration at a Virginia school. Sewing was a common activity in addition to academics, but not only to supply desperately needed clothes, but also teach marketable skills. So you learn about all this, how this community was established after the slaves were emancipated here in Hilton Head Island. This was Mitchellville. At its peak, Mitchellville had hundreds of homes and thousands of residents. Where did everyone go? In 1868, 3 years after the Civil War's end, the Union military departed Hilton Head Island, taking jobs with it. Many Mitchellville residents left the island to carve out a new future or find family members. Those who stayed faced land disputes and unfair tax laws. Then in 1893, a ferocious hurricane leveled the island. More people left, but not everyone. Descendants of Mitchellville citizens still live on the island, the Gullah Geechee tribe as we know it. The telling of history favors those who write it. During enslavement, blacks were not allowed to read or write. Uncovering their stories requires care, resourcefulness, and close study. These exhibits are proof that it is possible. So, the former Mitchellville site, in which I own, was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1988 and officially became Historic Mitchellville Freedom Park in 2010, as you can see it. Descendants of Mitchellville residents have been involved in every aspect of the park's development, and a member of the descendant community will always be on the board. So descendants of Mitchellville are actually on the board of directors that help govern this park. Understanding Mitchellville. As an experiment in black independence, Mitchellville was the subject of many newspaper articles during the Civil War. Military personnel, teachers, and other white people who came to Hilton Head Island kept journals, wrote letters, took photographs, and made sketches. Though invaluable, these accounts reflect biases of the time, even among passionate abolitionists. The people of Mitchellville did leave some documents behind, and archaeology has provided additional insights into the daily lives. They also passed down memories of this remarkable place to their descendants. Archaeologists, historians, and other researchers have been studying Mitchellville since the 1980s. What discoveries future work may bring. The past. Mitchellville women make their daily trip to the nearby U.S. Army camp to earn money from washing clothes or selling vegetables. We're looking at what was once a section of Mitchellville, self-governed town by formerly enslaved people founded in the 1860s. The metal structures and gravel beds represent the houses that once stood here. This grouping is just a fraction of the Mitchellville community. At its peak, the town had hundreds of homes as well as 4 churches. Mitchellville homes were usually a single story and ranged in size from 150 to 390 square feet. They typically stood a few feet above ground, supported by posts or pier structures and offset by a front stop. Most homes also had fences and small gardens. To live and working in Mitchellville, freedom sketchers came to Hilton Head Island with virtually nothing. They needed to find a job as quickly as possible to pay for food, clothes, and other everyday essentials. Mitchellville residents had the additional expenses of rent with non-stop construction and thousands of soldiers. The Union military complex was Hilton Head's biggest employer. Negotiating pay was difficult. Black workers could not count on getting paid fairly or even at all. When they did, they received less than their white counterparts. You can see it's a sign for Mitchell. There's a Harriet Tubman statue. It's part of the journey to freedom. You can see there's a Harriet Tubman statue out here at Mitchellville. So abolitionists helped with Harriet Tubman and this journey. All these abolitionists helped play a part, in this. Even talks about Fort Howell. So as you can see out here,